Hello, everyone. Dr. Heinrich here. Happy Friday. Today, we're going to be talking about building the next generation, investing in our kids, and building the next generation of world creators. If I could ask you one thing, if you could give your child one gift that will still be paying them 30 years from now, what would that be? If you could give your child one gift that will be paying them 30 years from now, what would that be? Many parents work so hard to leave an inheritance. But if the greatest inheritance isn't money, what if the knowledge to create wealth, manage wealth, and preserve wealth? Tonight, we're talking about investing in our children before we invest for them. Most of us, we sit back, we own all these assets, we get all this life insurance for our kids, but we never take time to start incorporating basic life financial skills into these kids. So, what happens when you pass down these resources that you've worked all your life for them, and they will have these resources with little or no knowledge? That is why, if we see in our time today, money doesn't last more than two generations because most of the time, the money that we pass down, the people that we pass the money down to, they aren't ready to take from what we have worked so hard for this money. So, there are basic key points that we're going to touch today for each and every parent to go back into the drawing board and think of how they can start incorporating some of this. Financial literacy is no longer an option. School teaches children how to learn, get a career, and make money. But unfortunately, very few teachers usually talk about budgeting, savings, investing, taxes, credit, entrepreneurship, and compound interest. Do you know why that is done? In order to keep you all in the rat race. Because the economy is like a fuel. If we don't continuously fuel the economy is not going to be robust. And the low and middle class are the big people that help in fueling this economy at the detriment of our world building journey. So, if we could teach your kids about money, if you don't teach your kids about money, who else do you expect to? You have to start doing the homework. If you don't do that, guess what? Social media will help them, and also their friends, which don't know any better. So that is one of the reason you have to start having that conversation now, because that is the conversation that will help shape these kids' lives in the future. Number two, time is the greatest investment advantage a child has. Have you ever heard of the power of compound interest? This is the power in which, as Einstein says, those who know it earn it, and those who don't understand it, unfortunately, they will be losing. The stock market is one of the greatest world builder that we have in our time. The greatest asset that children have today, it's time. And start teaching them these basic life principles will be the best gift that you can give them. It's not the next toy, it's not the next designer, it's not the next vacation. Money grows, time multiplies money. And gone are those days we have to start teaching our kids not just to become doctors and lawyers, but to start managing the 5, 10, and $15 that they have right now. Point number three, it is about us raise investment and not just consumers. Nowadays, we continuously raise consumer kids. If we happen to give our kid the first $10, all they're thinking is to buy. What am I going to buy? Am I going to that next restaurant? Am I buying the next game? Am I buying the next Roblox? No. This is the culture we are building in our societies right now. We are raising kids that are consumers. They don't understand the power of budgeting. They don't understand the power of keeping some. They don't understand that rainy days will come, that they won't be able to have the money that they are having now. They don't understand that a time will come that they will separate themselves from their parents and start building themselves. Now it's all about taking, it's all about getting from their parents and just living the life. Gone are those days. Today, we have to start teaching our kids to stop about instant gratification, buying everything immediately, living for appearance and social media pressure. Most parents will say, "Oh, I didn't have this kind of life, so I should give my kid." There is nothing wrong with that. But I'll beckon on you parents today. Teach your kids how to fish, not to give them fish all the time. Because there'll be a time when you won't be there, and guess what? They won't be able to fish. Key number 4, financial literacy builds confidence. Money affects college choices, career decisions, relationship, mental health, and stress. Children who understand money often become adults who make more intentional decisions. How can you have a 20 or an 18-year-old that sits at home during the summer? They don't look for a job. They don't look for ways to make passive income. For 3 months, all they do is play or watch video games or watch Netflix. What kind of mentality are we teaching these kids? And some of these kids, they don't even listen to their parents anymore because we have set some kind of a standard already. Kids, they behave the way you interact with them. So if you're a parent, you either be a parent or you be a fly-by parent. And some of these fly-by parents, they come to a point where the kids don't even listen to you. No matter what you say, they don't get it. Key number 5, we need to give our kids responsibilities. I go to some houses, these kids, they wake up, the first thing they do, they find food to eat, and all they do is get on video games and watch TV. Weekly allowance, let's start tying weekly allowance to responsibilities. Even if our kids, it doesn't matter where you are. You're in Africa, you're in Europe, you're in America, wherever you are. Let's start giving these kids responsibilities. And when you give them these responsibilities and they do it, and some of these kids, they might even go way above the responsibilities, give them a chore and pay them. Give them a stipend, appreciate them, and watch how they use the money that you appreciate them. That is where you start building the mindset in those kids. Open a savings account wherever you are. There are accounts that you can start opening for your kids, custodial accounts. You will have ownership of these accounts. But I see parents these days, all their kids' money, if an uncle or an aunt or a friend gives them money, it stays in their parents' accounts. The parents owe them till when they're 22. Some of them even forget about the money. Some, they get that money to just go and consume it. But we should start opening our kids' accounts. It doesn't matter how old they are, from the age of 7, 8, 9, and above. These kids can have custodial accounts that they can start understanding how much money they have. Guess what? This is a secret. When the kids start understanding that they have $5 to spend, they will be looking just for things within $5 to spend. When the kids understand that, oh, my mom and dad will buy me anything that they want, guess what? They will be sending you and going to your Amazon app and buying whatever they need because the mindset hasn't been shifted. But when they start understanding the power of money and what they can invest based on what they have, or what they can buy based on what they have, that is all they are entitled to. And we have to start teaching them these basic financial skills. We have to start introducing these kids to investing. We are now in a powerful world, especially those in the United States. If you have a kid that was born January 1st of 2025 till today, the Trump account is there. This account, you open it, they give your kid automatically $1,000. Some employers even add money into that account. But we don't take time to understand some of the things that are going on in our environment. How do we tend to make money? All we think is going to work and working 30-hour shifts, 50-hour shifts. But the money that we make, we don't think about how we can multiply the money. One thing I want to let you know today, the money you make, it's more of a seed. And if you don't plant that seed, unfortunately, that money will not grow. The money you make today, it's a seed. And if you don't plant that seed, that money will not grow. Another thing that we have to start teaching our kids, it's about charitable giving. Do you go to church? Do you see people that are struggling out there? It's time for us to start teaching our kids that they have to learn to give. We are expecting all this from our kids in the future. But unfortunately, or fortunately, some of these kids that we are bringing up today, they don't understand that mindset of giving. And until we start teaching them at this early stage that they should be able to give no matter how small they have, it's gonna be even difficult for these kids to give to us. So if you're here watching us, please thank you. Share this video, share this live. We need more people to engage in this discussion. And if you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Put your questions on the comment area. We are saying them. Also, we have to start teaching our kids small ways of budgeting and help them set financial goals. At 7 or 10 years old, you can start teaching these kids. I started my daughter at 7. Today, she understands what budgeting is. She understands that no matter how much money you make, you have to save, you have to invest some, whether it's $5 or $10. When we start teaching our kids this mindset, this is going to be its game changer in the future. We have been living a life of consumption. We have been living a life of hard work. All we think is hard work. I grew up in a very average home from a single mom. She had little or nothing. She took care of 5 kids. But I'll tell you one thing that my mom taught me. She taught me the essence of financial literacy. She didn't have that much education, but guess what? I saw my mom juggle 3 or 4 jobs in order to make ends meet. And at the same time, there wasn't any point in time she wasn't selling something in order for us to constantly get that passive income. We are living in a world today that is full of opportunities. You can't tell me you just have to sit on one job. There are multiple ways to make a dollar. It doesn't matter where you find yourself. Don't sit on the internet and all you're hoping for is a handout for people to give you money. I don't give money, and I don't expect people to be giving you money. You have to work hard for every penny that you make, that you earn. Point number 6, we have to start teaching our kids delayed gratification. One of the biggest predictors of financial success is learning to wait. Most of us today, we don't want to wait. When we make that first $1,000, when we make that first $100, we are just thinking of the first thing to go and spend it. We are not thinking of ways to put that money to constantly work for us. Instead of, I want it now, we have to start teaching our kids, I'll invest first, I enjoy the reward later. Point number 7, parents are their children's first financial teachers. So if you don't start talking about finances with your kids, especially at an early age, don't expect them to be financially responsible. Children watch how you spend, they watch how you save, and they watch how you invest. How you talk about money is very, very critical with respect to the way your kids are going to talk about money. Children often inherit financial habits before they inherit financial assets. I usually talk about my mom because of the way I saw her navigate life and how she treated money. I think my mindset and who I am today, I give most of the credit to my mom. Point number 8, teach the 4 money habits. The first one is earn. We have to develop valuable skills. We have to learn to save. Pay yourself first. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're currently working, you can save 10% at the minimum, then that means you don't have a budget and you're overstretching what you're making. At a minimum, if you're making $100 a month, or you're making $1,000 a month, or you're making $10,000 a month, you should be able to save and invest to begin with 10%. If you shouldn't be giving 10% to a church when you're not keeping 10% for the rainy days and the future. This is all a fallacy that people come and tell you. God help those who help themselves. You have to start keeping money for your rainy days and for the future when you won't be able to work as much as you're working today. Tina, Winnie, Stephanie, Stephen, thank you for joining. Also, you have to invest. You have to put your money to work. If you don't put your money to work, unfortunately, you end up broke or highly dependent on your kids that you didn't even teach them how money works. So, guess what? They'll always be frustrated. They won't want you around because money will be tight and you didn't teach them how to give. Also, give. Practice generosity with wisdom. Giving doesn't mean everybody that comes into your inbox, you have to give them money. But you have to start teaching these kids the habit of generosity, the habit of giving. Also, introduce entrepreneurship early. Teach kids how to solve problems, how to create value, and how to start small businesses. Small business doesn't mean that they need $1,000 or $100 to start a business. A lot of these kids nowadays, they have aunts and uncles that have babies. Sometimes they want to rush to the shop. They can take care of these kids. They can walk dogs. They can start a lemonade stand. They can do a lot of stuff in order to start teaching them about this mindset of entrepreneurship. Also, we have to start talking about a legacy. Legacy is more than just leaving money. Legacy is more of what you leave in your kids, not what you leave for them. True legacy is teaching your kids how money works, how wealth is built, how to avoid unnecessary debt, how to protect assets, and how to think long term. This is what true legacy means. And we have to start engaging in some of this conversation with our kids. If you wait for these kids to go over 18 years, there's a high probability you have already failed. Start engaging this conversation as early as 7. These kids, they will understand. They will pick it as early as you start. Common myth that I would like to address today. My child is too young. They don't understand. Fallacy. These kids, they understand. Children start forming money habits at an early age. Another myth. I'll teach them when they're older. Fallacy. By then, many financial habits are already established. Another myth. Investing requires thousands of dollars. Today, you can open a custodial account for your kid and start investing with as little as $1. Many investment platforms allow people to start with small amounts while building generational consistent habits. So, in closing, what I want to leave here with you, the greatest investment you will ever make may not be in the stock market, in real estate, your business. It may be in the financial education of your children. Because we work so hard that we're going to leave a fortune for these kids, but unfortunately, we will be crying in our grave to see how these kids going to languish that fortune that we're leaving for them. Because you know what? They don't understand how it was made. They don't understand how to multiply it, and they don't understand how to save it for further generation. It is said in the Bible, A good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. If you don't teach your children to teach their children, then you have failed no matter what you leave for them. Also, it may be in the financial education of your children. Market can rise and fall, economies can change, but a child who understands money carries a skill that can serve them for a lifetime and shape generation after them. So, I am inviting you, no matter where you're located. Tomorrow, we are starting cohort 3 of financial literacy boot camp for kids from age 9 to 17. If your child is between the age of 9 to 17, this is exactly why we created World Smart Next Gen. It is more than a financial literacy class, it's a program designed to help young people develop a mindset, habits, and practical skills to earn, save, invest, and build wealth with confidence. Cohort 3 starts tomorrow, and registration is open till midnight today. Don't wait until your child becomes an adult to teach them about money. Give them the knowledge today that can transform their future tomorrow. Also, if you have a young adult between the age of 17 and 24 that they're going to college, maybe they started working or they're thinking of getting into the workforce, we have a mentoring and coaching program that runs for a year. We talk about life skills with these kids. We talk about professional skills with these kids. We talk about financial literacy and building a nest egg for themselves and also growing as good and responsible citizen. Take upon these opportunities. Give your kids a gift that will live with them for a lifetime, not a gift that will last for a couple days or months. Until next time, this is your favorite doctor, Dr. Heinrich Ademo, your financial coach and wealth strategist.